Well, hello friends. Today we're going to work on the window manager, Windows Server again. And it's going to be about the menu. So currently, the way that the menu up here works is that for every frame that we compose the window stack, the last pass, or one of the last things that we do, is that we render the menu into the display frame buffer before we load it to screen. And this is obviously not very efficient because even if nothing changes in the menu, when I'm doing this, for instance, we're drawing the menu over and over and over and over again. And that's just really a result of bad factoring. So I'll show you what that looks like in the WS compositor. So if we go to compose, we can see here, this is the function that takes all the windows from back to front and copies whatever recs are dirty from those windows into the back buffer of the compositor. So here's the workhorse function for that. But you see down here that one of the very last things that we do is draw menu bar. And that's not super great. So what this guy does here is that he just uses the back painter, which is the back buffer painter, and he just like paints right into the back buffer. So what we should have instead is that the menu bar should be a window, and then it should behave like any other window with regards to like dirtying and compositing, so that if nothing is dirty in the menu, then we don't have to repaint the menu. So I haven't touched this code in a while, so bear with me while I get reacquainted. I guess the first thing we should do is just set up the window for this. So let's see. We don't really have anything for that right now, so let's create a window. We should maybe make a new class for this. So we'll call it something like global menu bar, something like that. Because we have this thing called the WS menu bar. Actually, maybe I should talk about what the classes are that we have. So a menu bar is this thing that a client app, like this terminal here, it instantiates a menu bar on the client side, which is then represented by a WS menu bar on the Windows Server side. And the menu bar is these three right here. Not this one, not this stuff over here, just these three. This is a menu bar. And that's from the client's perspective. Oh, we crashed. Well, that's something I'm not going to work on right now. But yeah, so that's a menu bar. And then each entry in the menu bar is a menu. So these here are menus. Terminal is a menu, font is menus, and so on. And then these guys here are menu items. And this type of thing here is a menu separator, but that's not a separate class, it's just a kind of menu item. Anyways, those are the main classes. So I think the new thing I will be adding is something that we'll call, I was thinking global menu bar, but that kind of makes it sound like it's like it's a kind of a menu bar rather than its own thing. So maybe we should call it menu bar window. Menu bar window? That's pretty good. So we can call it that. Okay. And we'll just start from that and we'll see what happens. So does anyone inherit from WS window, I wonder? No, no one does. Okay, well, I was thinking we could maybe be the first. Let's just get started. So let's see what we need. Oh, come on, zoom. We are going to need WS window, that's for sure. Okay, so we'll say that we are a window. Or, well, do we actually need to be a window? Well, let's just say this to begin with. This thing is going to want to have a window internally, at least. Ah, man, I hate this name already. That's why I'm already stuck here. Menu bar. I'm gonna rename it right away to menu bar container, menu bar manager, menu bar. Okay, this is stupid. I can think of a better name later, so we'll just do this for now. Window, turn in window. So let's see, how do we want this thing to work? So, I mean, this thing is always going to have a window, actually, so it will never be windowless. And then in the window manager, this is where the switcher lives, so we can put this guy here too. Yes, menu bar, window. Okay, I'm gonna call it keeper. Yeah, that's not the most beautiful name, but at least it doesn't end in window, which is just irritating me to no end. WS window. Window bar window? What do I think I'm doing? Keeper. Okay. Ah, man, it is pretty early here, but at least I'm not tired. So I think we're going to be able to make progress here relatively easily. Menu bar keeper. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and tweak this little include here. Wait. WS menu. There we go. Now we have the keeper. Okay. And then let's go and look at how we want to use this thing. So I guess instead of calling draw menu bar, really, because we're not going to do this. In fact, we can probably take this logic and put it over here. So we'll say draw. And then we will just take all this code. All of it, really. And put this in menu bar keeper instead. It will be a start. Menu bar keeper. Okay, now you just call draw. Window manager. Okay, so obviously we can't just paint into the back painter like this anymore. So let's see, we're gonna have to make a new painter. First we have to include shared graphics painter. Okay, and then we can make a painter that, how do we do this? Painter, window dot backing store. Like that. Okay. Oh yeah, and then we can change all of these to painter dot. Painter dot. Yeah, that's a little bit. Okay, then we need time and local time. So those are temp.h, and then we need font. And we already have window manager, but we can't call these because these are private functions. But we'll fix that. So let's see. We need shared graphics font. The username thing here, I think probably the only, yeah, we're the only code that needs the username, so we can just move that to the menu bar keeper. It's for the little username in the top right corner. That's not the most important thing in the world. I just like to show it there just to, it's like a reminder of features I would like to make in the future. I like to put little placeholders like that. Same thing as many apps have little placeholder buttons that don't actually do anything. I know that they don't do anything. It's like they're there to sort of make the design feel more put together, you know, cohesive, and also to serve as reminders for stuff that I know I want to do. Okay. And let's get login. It's UniSTD. Yeah. Okay. Now, sorry. Oh, we got a painter here. Painter. CPU monitor thing. Oh yeah, we can move that to the menu bar keeper as well then. Window manager, CPU. Okay, put that there. And let's see, we need one of these. So that will go in the menu bar keeper as well. It's just this little timer callback where we update the time display in the top right corner. I realized that I can't point in the top right corner here on my screen because that's where the webcam is. And yeah, we have a timer in the top right corner. Okay, so for this, we're gonna need libcore ctimer. And then we have a function called tick clock, which just invalidates the menu. So we can definitely move that to menu bar keeper as well. So that would be tick clock. And these are going to be like this, because now they are, it's my member. And then we will do menu bar keeper tick clock. Okay, so this gets called whenever we're in a new second, basically. So for now, we can just say window and validate. Get rid of that. Okay. So this thing here is private. So I think we can just make this thing public because it's kind of useful for each active menu bar menu. Let's see. Oh shit, I forgot to add it to the makefile. So menu bar keeper. Okay, so we don't have username is our member now, right? Okay, so now it's trying to call draw menu bar, and that doesn't exist, so that's good. Because what we're going to do instead, we're just going to add a window to the window stack. So here, wait, hold on. How does the switcher actually do this? Wait, the window switcher has a switcher window. And where is it instantiated? In refresh. Okay, so we can, we can't create a window in the constructor here because we're called, because we're a member of the window manager, then we would be calling the constructor before the window manager has been constructed. And everything else has been set up, so that's not okay. It's too early. So we should probably do it in... I guess we can just do it with a callback here. So we'll say setup. We'll call it something like setup. Okay, and then setup, and then that would be a window manager call from the constructor. So we'll call menu bar keeper setup. Okay. And this is where we're gonna do the window. And it's a menu bar keeper window. And menu bar rect. That's the one that we want. So menu bar rect. The factoring here is still, it's going to be broken for a while because there's a lot of stuff to move around. But I mean, so things like the window manager still manages the actual menu objects and the rect for the menu items and shit like that. But in this patch, the goal is to just move the painting and the rendering of the menu over to the separate keeper class, and having a window that contains the menu bitmap rather than drawing it synchronously in every compose update, every compose, I guess. Okay, so we need to add a new window type. And it's going to be called a menu bar keeper. Or we can just call it menu bar, actually. Okay. And we're going to have some places where we need to handle this. So this is where we convert to the API type. So I guess we should just have an API type for this, even though the API is not going to want to do anything with the menu bar right now. We should still have it. Okay. Where else do we have stuff like that? I guess here, or we're just converting in the other direction. that. Blah, blah, blah. Not normal. Not normal. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then I think that the main thing left is, so the way that the window stack is sorted right now is that we iterated one window type at a time, and this determines the Z order. It's very, very ugly, I feel, and it just keeps growing. But whatever, I'm gonna add a little bit more of this. So put that here. And the ugly part is that when you do that, you have to fix the reverse order down here so that it matches up what we did above. Okay. And actually the menus should be in front of the menu bar, now that I think about it. So we should do that. Okay. Right. No matching, whatever. Oh, we need to inherit from C object if we want to call this constructor internal owner, because the internal owner receives the events, right? So we need to inherit from C object. But we don't need anyone to inherit from us, so we can make it final. And class name is barkeeper. This is a virtual override, and we also have override. There we go. Menu barkeeper. All right, is that good enough? These warnings are kind of ugly. Okay. So we're definitely not going to see a menu, I think. That would be weird. But we do have some dark up here, so the menu still works. So now we have to actually make sure that we update this thing. So that would be, let's see, so whenever something changes about the menu, or, I mean, how do we invalidate this thing today? Menu bar rect. I'm guessing that we invalidate it. Yeah, right. So what we want to do here instead is menu bar keeper refresh, I guess, or invalidate. Let's say invalidate, yeah. Why do I keep thinking that this is wrong? Let's say refresh then, fine, jeez. Menu bar keeper refresh. Fresh. Okay, so then in menu bar keeper, refresh. We can just do draw right now, and then we can say window invalidate. Oh, that didn't work out well. Why are we stuck? I'm guessing that we're doing something, we're getting stuck in a loop somehow, so what if we don't call draw? Still bad. What if we don't call invalidate either? So invalidate is bad. Okay, so why is invalidate bad? What does it do? Calling the window frame. Getting a rect for this window. And why doesn't that work out? Let's see. Assert M window. I mean, it's like the bare minimum. I would expect that to crash harder though. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can say, let's just add some debug printfs. Draw and invalidate and after invalidate. Fancy. Oh, we are assert failing here. Oh, this did fail. Oh, okay. So this is being called. I guess then we can just say if no window yet. Return. That's okay. Oops. Nope. Okay. So now we're up here, but it's not updating when I open a menu and stuff like that. But we are seeing at least an initial rendering. Let me see if it works when I switch apps actually. And then open Process Manager. So this part works. Right. Window Manager. So rect in menu bar. That's the thing that I'm looking for, because like it's all about when you. This is the thing that we're looking for. This is for every item in the menu bar. They have they know they're rect, and then whenever the mouse clicks on one of them, then yeah, we're in here. Handle menu bar mouse event. This should eventually move into the menu bar keeper, but that's kind of if I start doing that now, that will just completely snowball this work. So let's stick to the painting only. Okay, so if for each active menu bar menu, if the rect in the menu bar contains the event position, then we will handle that menu mouse event. And I guess probably this just worked because we would repaint the menu on every compose anyway. And then we would force a compose by changing the visibility of the window. I think that's what's happening. So what I'm talking about is how there's no explicit invalidation of the menu here. So when I click here, because this menu window pops up, this is a separate window, because that pops up, there's a separate compose that occurs because the window stack changes. So that's why the menu was being repainted. Because what I'm looking for is this, I want this red background up here too to show that this particular menu is open. But all we have to do is just call refresh on the menu bar keeper. So refresh, and then close current menu. We should menu bar keeper refresh. Oops, gotta compile first. Okay, so now these are working, but over here we don't actually update the clock anymore. So let's see what that's about. Let's take clock, we do window invalidate, but that's not enough because invalidating the window just tells the Windows server that, okay, the backing store of this window has new pixels in it, you got to repaint them all. But we don't actually update the backing pixels. So here we're going to do that synchronously by just calling draw. This is, of course, like a lot of extra work that we wouldn't need to do if we would separate out and things in draw, but that's outside the scope of this patch. But basically, when the clock is changing, we don't need to repaint all the windows. So. But that's a separate thing, so let's not do that right now. We just redraw when the clock ticks. Okay, look at that. That's pretty good. So I think we've just successfully separated out the menu from the compose path. So now this doesn't make us draw the window every time, but rather the window or the menu just draws itself into its backing store whenever something changes. Otherwise it just sits there and we reuse the bitmap, which is really cool. The one downside to this is that we are probably using a little bit more memory because we need this little bitmap up here to persist. But I'm pretty happy with the functionality here, so let's just do a patch review. So let's see. Oh, that's where the launcher went. I was wondering what the heck was up with that. It seems like I turned off the launcher yesterday for some reason. Okay. So first up is that we need to actually add the file to the Git. I guess we're going with menu bar keeper for now. It's not the best name in the world, but it'll work for now. Okay, so here, this is the thing that the point of the whole thing was to get rid of draw menu bar and compose. And now we don't paint into the back buffer like that anymore. Very nice. We still do some other stuff that paints into the back buffer, but right now we're just fixing the menu part. Okay, so here's API type conversion for the window type enum. And then here is the menu bar keeper, which is really just taking stuff from what was formerly in the window manager and putting it here instead, or Actually, I guess formerly in the compositor. Yeah, it was in the compositor. I keep mixing up the window manager and the compositor because they were the same class until just recently. So I'm still getting used to them being separated. But this is actually, it's going to make it easier to understand the compositor, for instance, because now it has one less weird responsibility that it shouldn't have had in the first place. So this simplifies that class. But as you can see here, it still has like a fair bit of stuff. It manages the wallpaper. I'm not sure if that's correct, the correct design. It does the cursor and the geometry label. The geometry label is probably not the right thing. That's this, I should tell you what that is actually. Because that's the main remaining thing that is now done by the compositor. So the geometry label is this, you can't see where I'm pointing, but it's the thing in the middle of the terminal here that tells us the size of the window as I'm resizing it or as I'm moving it. Those are drawn, the very last thing in Compose, just like we were doing with the menu. This thing is drawn like on top of everything else after we compose. So it would be good to get rid of that too, but that's a separate issue as well. So anyway, back to the batch. So we were just moving code over to the menu bar keeper. He now also owns the responsibility for the clock, of course, and the CPU monitor widget gadget. Okay, and then draw here. We just create a painter and draw directly into the backing store of our window instead of drawing into the backing store of the compositor. Cool. Of course, there's still a bunch of stuff that is now spread out across Window Manager and the menu bar keeper, like I was saying. We'll get to that, but not in this patch. Okay, and here's just rendering the time and the username and the CPU monitor thing. Okay, and this is the callback. Whenever the second of the current time changes, then we do this. So I guess this could really just call refresh, actually. Tick, clock, just for simplicity's sake. Add, head. Right. And then here, I'm gonna have to add stuff in the future so that we handle events, menu-related events in the menu bar keeper, but that's also outside the scope of this patch. And here is the menu bar keeper class definition, or declaration rather. Looks fine. An API type conversion, getting rid of some stuff in the window manager. So actually it's not just the window compositor that loses some suspicious responsibilities, but also the window manager, which is good. Okay. I mean, the window manager still owns the menu bar keeper, but that's livable. And then we're making this API here public. Ultimately, this should move to menu bar keeper, and menu bar keeper should own all of the menu related objects. I think that would be the best. Okay, and then this is the Windows Z order stuff. When we iterate the Z order, now we do menu bars and then menus when going back to front. So the menus are on top of menu bars. And when going front to back, we do menus first and then menu bars. Beautiful. And then just adding the window type enum. Okay, I think that's good. Windows server. Render the global menu bar in a separate window. Previously we were rendering the menu bar, the whole menu bar on every compose, even if nothing changed about it. Now it's in its own window and can be managed separately and painted separately. Cool, very cool. All right. All right, I kind of like that. I very much like that. That was something that's been bothering me for a long time, and I just never got around to doing this refactoring. So I'm glad that I have these videos because they forced me to come up with something to do every time. And this was just this kind of thing that I wasn't getting it done, but I could use the sort of the reason that I need to make a video about something to get myself to do this refactoring task. So thank you for hanging out with me and coming here while I do this, because you just motivated me to refactor something that I knew I wanted to do, but I didn't do yet. Yeah. So yeah, if you made it here in the video, then indeed, like I just said, thank you for watching and for hanging out and coming back, and you know, leave a like, share, subscribe, all of those things if you like this type of content. But the most interesting thing I would say is when people leave comments. So if you have anything that you would like to talk about, then do let me know. Other than that, I will see you next time.